Hey everyone, and welcome back. So we have new title announcements. We have the August titles for Vinegar Syndrome, and Scream Factory has announced their October titles. Now, probably not all of them, but definitely the main ones, including the Halloween box set. And I'm going to get to that in just a moment, but I do want to get through the other ones real quick. So first up, actually Shout Factory has announced two new 4K titles, and these are part of the Shout Select line. So first up is the Jack Nicholson film The Last Detail from director Hal Ashby. Now there's no details yet as far as extras or anything like that, but it's set for October 25th, and retails for $34.99. It is up for pre-order on the Shout Factory website. I'm sure it'll be up for pre-order at other places as well. But if you get it from Shout Factory, you do can get a poster of a shirtless Jack Nicholson if that's what you want. So the other title in the Shout Select line is a good one. It's the 4K release of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That is due out October 11th, and that retails for $36.98. Now again, also no details just yet, but as a heads up, it is only going to be a 4K release. It's not going to have the Blu-ray, which of course has been out from them for a while, and there's no news on Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Now the thing about that is I believe both films are actually owned by separate entities. I believe Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I think, is owned by Studio Canal at this point. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, I think, is still with MGM. So that might be what's holding that up. But that could get a 4K release down the line, because if I'm not mistaken, I do believe Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is actually in 4K streaming. So obviously a 4K version does exist. So hopefully we can get a physical release of that at some point. And before I get to the Scream Factory announcements, I do want to get through the Vinegar Syndrome titles, which are their August titles. So they are up for pre-order right now. They will ship later this month. First couple are Blu-ray titles. So first up is an interesting one. It's actually The Birds 2 Land's End, which is actually a direct-to-cable sequel for The Birds, the Alfred Hitchcock film. Now, although I don't know how much it's actually connected to that film outside of just the general premise. I haven't seen it in like forever. But it's directed by Rick Rosenthal, who some of you know directed Halloween 2. Now that is going to be a Region A locked Blu-ray, just as a heads up there. And it does have a new 2K transfer from the 35mm interpositive. Has a commentary track with historians Amanda Rades and Sam Pancake. Sam Pancake, that's a cool name, actually. Don't Remake Hitchcock Movies, an extensive making-of documentary featuring interviews with its cast and crew. The Silence of the Birds, an interview with composer Ron Raymond. The Location of Birds 2, a locations featurette with production assistant Craig Edwards, as well as a still gallery. And the next one for Vinegar Syndrome is actually a double feature disc, and this is going to be a region-free Blu-ray release. It has two films. First one is the film Hot Snake, and the other one is Guns and Guts. Hot Snake will have the original Spanish mono with newly translated English titles, and Guns and Guts will have the original English mono. Each film is scanned from the original 35mm camera negatives. Guns, Guts, and Family, an interview with Rene Cardona III. And again, that is up for pre-order right now on their website for later this month. And the next one is a Blu-ray set. This is another box set, and this is indeed the Forgotten Giallo Volume 5, right? Are we up to 5? Yeah. So we got 3 more Giallo in this set, including the film, let's see, A White Dress for Marielle, if I'm pronouncing that right. That is a new transfer from the original negative. Forget This Movie, an interview with director Romano Scarvolini. A White Dress for Evelyn, an interview with actress Ida Galli. Audio essay by film historian and critic Rachel Nisbet, as well as deleted scenes and the Italian and French theatrical trailers. Next film is Tropic of Cancer. That also has a new transfer from the original camera negative. It has both the Italian soundtrack as well as the English dub. Sex, Voodoo, and Dictatorship, an interview with writer-director Gianpaolo Lomi. Audio essay by film historian and critic Rachel Nisbet, as well as outtakes, an alternate English title sequence, as well as the Italian and English trailers. And then finally, the last film in the set is 9 Guests for a Crime, also getting a new transfer from the original negative. Has both the Italian soundtrack and the English dub. Giallo in Sardinia, an interview with actor Massimo Foschi. Audio essay by film historian and critic Rachel Nisbet, as well as the original theatrical trailer. So I'm glad that they are still continuing on with these box sets. And then finally, the big one for Vinegar Syndrome, at least in my opinion, is their 4K release for this month. And that is indeed the film The Incredible Melting Man, which is really, really cool. That actually was a big, because I think that was an early Rick Baker effects film. That's probably one where, especially if you grew up in like the VHS time. You know, it's kind of one of those like infamous movies that you had to see, you know, if anything, just by the title alone. And that film has always been a little muddy on video. I mean, let's see, like Scream Factory is one of their early releases. I think that was the first time like the film actually looked decent. But some of these screenshots from the new transfer that they've done for this just look amazing. Like, here's one, I'll just show you real quick. And I've never seen the film look this good. So speaking of which, it does have a new transfer from the original 35mm camera negative. Commentary track with writer-director William Sachs. It's a War, a brand new interview with William Sachs. Just Show Up, a brand new interview with script supervisor Sandy King, which is cool. I believe that's John Carpenter's wife. An interview featurette with William Sachs and special effects artist Rick Baker. Interview with special effects artist Greg Canham. And the original theatrical trailer and a still gallery. So I'm super excited about this one. This is definitely the highlight for me for this month. Can't wait to see what that looks like in 4K and all the the gooey goodness. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting those later this month. And finally, we get to the Scream Factory titles for October. Obviously, this first one specifically, we've known has been coming for a long time. Not quite exactly what I was expecting, but still very cool that it is coming. That is indeed the Halloween 4K set, which will have the 3 Halloween films, 6, H2O, and Resurrection in 4K. Now, it is a box set. Now, I know I've seen some people kind of complain, like, well, why is this a box set? You know, they always come up with these sort of conspiracy theories as to why. It literally just came down to licensing. The only way Scream Factory was able to license these from Miramax was to literally sell them together as a box set. Now, what they did do, which I'm very happy, is the fact that even though it's technically a box set, each film inside will be packaged just like the first 5 films from last year. So it'll have obviously the regular case as well as that outer harder box. And then you'll have obviously the outer box that'll house all 3. So if you just want to display them in single form, just like, with the first 5 and have them all match, you have that option, luckily. And it is going to be 8 discs. As far as it's going to have 4K discs and Blu-ray disc. I assume Blu-ray disc will probably be pretty similar to the ones in the box set. Now, it may have an updated transfer for the films. I'm not sure just yet. But we will be getting 2 cuts of Halloween 6. And luckily, both cuts will actually be in 4K. Now, as of now, each film is going to have a 5.1 mix and a stereo mix. So it's going to have a 5.1 mix as well as the original theatrical mix, which is good. Don't know if any of them are going to have a Dolby Atmos track like they did last year for the first 5 films, where they had the original soundtrack and a 5.1 track, and they also had a new Dolby Atmos track. Don't know. They haven't announced full details just yet. I assume we'll get those probably sometime in September. But the retail price is $129.98, and it is due out October 4th. It's up for pre-order right now on the Shout Factory website for $119.98. But I believe it is also now up on Amazon, and in which case I will link to the Amazon listing below if you don't want to get posters or anything like that. And that's all it comes with. I think the only thing is there's no pins or anything like they did last year, or records or anything like that. It's just the movies with the optional posters. Now, as far as the Rob Zombie films go, I mean, that's kind of what I was kind of hoping those would also be included so we could just get all of them. Unfortunately, if I'm to understand correctly, the Rob Zombie films, I believe, are now acquired by Miramax, by Lionsgate. Even before, they were sort of, I think, first film I think was with Miramax, and the second film I think was maybe with Sony or something, at least here in the States. And I think since then they're both, I believe, with Lionsgate, which is why they're not included in this set. Now, could we get 4K releases of those down the line? Maybe, because with Lionsgate, though, I don't know unless Lionsgate decides to do it, which they probably won't. So for those of you who, like me, are actually fans of those 2 films, we maybe a little out of luck, at least in the short term. But it is nice for at least those films, we will be able to have all of them in 4K. And again, even though, yes, it would be nice if we could get them separately, but I do like that the individual packaging will actually match the 5 from last year. I'm actually happy they did that. And then finally, the other big one for October, coming October 18th, is Return of the Living Dead in 4K, which I'm super excited about. Even wearing one of my Return of the Living Dead shirts today. And that's going to be a 3-disc set. It's going to have a 4K disc and I believe 2 Blu-rays. I assume the included Blu-ray, probably kind of like their other sets, the Blu-ray probably more or less match their previous release. Probably if they are doing a new transfer, I assume they're doing a new transfer. It'll have the new transfer on it, and then the other Blu-ray will be like an extras Blu-ray. But again, don't know yet. Details won't be probably announced until next month. And there are 2 versions you can get. Obviously, just one version of just the movie, you know, just the regular release. Obviously, you get it from Shout Factory. You get a poster, which is cool because it is the original one-sheet poster reprint of it, which is really cool. Or you can get a small bundle, which also includes pins, a nice pin set, which is it's a little pricey, especially considering it's only just a couple extra pins, but still cool nonetheless. But I believe that's also up in Amazon as well if you're not interested in any of the extras. And again, if it is, I will provide a link to that in the description below. And as far as the audio goes, because I know I had the exact same question, is whether or not is it going to have all the songs, or is it going to be missing any? And indeed, it will be missing one song, just like on their previous Blu-ray release. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, that song, I don't know if whoever owns the rights to that song, I don't know if it's the producer or the record company or whomever, they're just asking for insane amounts of money to license that song. And they've been doing it now for several years. And it's like, okay, I mean, no offense, but like the song is what, like almost 40 years old at this point. And honestly, if it wasn't for the movie, I wouldn't even know the song. Love the band, but it's like, I mean, again, I don't think it's actually the band. I think it's probably the record company or something. So you're going to keep your song out of the movie that it's probably best well known for what? Now you get no money. So it's like, okay, so you're out of everything. You know, instead of just cutting your costs and get your, you know, included in the movie, you're gonna, I don't know. It's a mess. I appreciate they tried. Luckily, you know, the moment in the film where that song kicks in, it's not really that big of a deal. It's actually really just, for me anyway, when I watch the film, it's just the initial start of that scene when that song would kick in. But even then, when I watched the film, because I did watch the Scream Factory Blu-ray this past 4th of July weekend, I actually didn't even notice that the song wasn't there. So I am happy that at least all the other songs are indeed still there. But still kind of a bummer. But again, it's not anything they did wrong. You know, it's kind of like the Richard Rubinstein thing with, you know, in relation to Dawn of the Dead and Martin. It's like, okay, you can ask all the money in the world, but it's like if you're not putting your product out there for people to see, and you're just gonna sit up for what reason? Like no one's gonna pay you. If no one's paying you the money for it now, they're probably not gonna do it tomorrow either. Little mini rant there at the end of this video. Otherwise, I'm super excited for this release. I already got my pre-orders in. I can't wait to see these films in 4K. So that's it for this news update. I do need to do actually a quick update video, which hopefully I will do before my trip. So definitely let me know your thoughts on these announcements. I'm sure I'm still missing like a ton more. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.